As you probably already know, up over here is our toolbar. And we can see these buttons to trigger any actions or behavior we want to change. But we could also customize it by right-clicking, go to Customize Toolbar, and we could add any action or options in here. One of my favorite things to do is to go to the Options menu and turn on Show Effects Inserts in the Track Control panel, which lets me see my inserts right from here. So I could choose them without having to go to this button and choose them from here. And when I'm done, I don't want this taking up any screen real estate. I want to see more of this. I can go to the Options menu and turn it off right here. But I want to do this a bit quicker. And we can do that with a Toolbar button. Customize Toolbar. Let's add an action. We'll go to our filter, type in Effects, Track Control panel, and choose this action right here to show effects inserts in the Track Control panel. Double click it, shows up over here. Let's add a separator over here. And if we hit OK, now we have a button to do that. Hit it so we can see our effects. Hit it again to hide them. But as you can tell, this toolbar button isn't very interesting. And we can change this button by going back here and right-clicking the button. It gives us a whole bunch of toolbar buttons to choose from. We can type effects, maybe choose this one right here. Hit OK. Now that button shows up. We could choose it to see our effects or not. But let's say we don't like this button. We want to create a custom one, and luckily we could do that with Reaper. And of course, we could do that for any of these buttons or any action we add to our toolbar. But let's do it for this. Now we're going to need an image to use, which you could find on the internet, but we could also just use the images in Reaper. We could use these effects buttons right here. This is what it looks like when it's chosen. This is what it looks like when it's not chosen. So I'm going to create a screenshot of each. This might be different for your computer and operating system. I'll do it for this whole button, and then save it, and then do it for this button as well. Then we're going to use a graphics program. The one I'm using is called Pixlr Editor, and it's web-based and free, so I know you could use it. But any graphics program should work. I'm going to create a new image. I'm going to make it 30 by 30, because that's the size Reaper uses for the button. So let's create it. Now this button is kind of small, so make it bigger. Then we're going to insert that screenshot into here. I'll go to Layer, Insert Image as Layer, and I'll choose the first screenshot we made. This one. As you can see, it's too big, so I'll make it smaller to the size we need, something like this. And I want to clean up this button, which I could do by selecting this side and copying it and pasting it. Let's reverse it horizontally and move it over here. That looks better. And I also want to extend this green color to the edges. You can make them transparent if you prefer. I'm going to keep them this darker green. Go to my brush tool, make sure it's set to 1 pixel, and draw it in over here. Just make it perfect. The same over here and over here. That's what our button is going to look like. Obviously, a lot smaller, like that. Let's keep it big. And we need to make 3 different buttons. One for normal, one for when we hover over the button with our cursor, and another for when it's active or chosen. So I'm going to choose this, let's unlock it, and let's duplicate it. And in this copy, I'm going to change the color using hue and saturation. Let's remove the saturation, change the hue a bit. This is what it's going to look like when we're not selecting the button. And then we'll copy this one and make this one lighter. So when we hover over the button, it'll look like this. So now we have 3 options. This one when it's selected, this one when it's not, and this one when we hover over the button. So we need to put these buttons side by side and therefore make it 3 times as wide. That's how Reaper reads the image and 3 versions of the button. So we'll go to the canvas size and change it by anchoring it to the left and change the width to be 90, 3 times 30. Now it's this wide. Let's view each layer and put them in order. The last one should be the green one, the middle one should be the light one, and the first one should be this one. So this is what the button looks like normally. This is what it looks like if we hover over it, and this is what it looks like when it's selected, or when we see our effects. So now we can just save this image. Go to save. We're going to save it as a PNG file. We'll give it a name, and we need to save this in a very specific folder. Find your REAPER folder, which I have right here. Within the REAPER folder, there's a folder called Data. Open this up and find the folder Toolbar Icons. We need to save this file in here. This way REAPER sees it as a toolbar button image file. As you can see, all the other ones are already in here as PNG files. Hit save. We can go back to REAPER and just right-click to customize toolbar. Right-click the button, go to our filter, type in effects or any name we gave it, and it shows up right here. Just choose it, close this, save this, and our button shows up over here, exactly as we saved it. Looks like this when it's not selected. It looks like this when it is. So you can go back and forth to each mode, and our button looks exactly like this. And if we hover over it, it gets lighter like this. Notice the other buttons do similar things. Hover over it, select it, and now we see our effects for our tracks. Deselect it, and we don't. And of course, you could do this for any use or options you have. Maybe pre-fader monitoring, or whether we record to lanes or not. Any option or preference with an action can be put up here with your own custom toolbar button, saved as a PNG file, and put into that REAPER folder. So that's pretty much it. That's how to make your own custom toolbar buttons in REAPER. Hope you learned something, hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bingo, boys, let's go.
Bye.